Today's episode is on the Muskogee/Creek Tribe. Muscogee Nation was not an individual tribe. It was a confederacy of different tribes in the southeast. The Muskogee Tribe lived in southern parts of Tennessee, all of Alabama, western Georgia, northern Florida, and Oklahoma. In the 1830s, the population was 22,000. By 2016, they have 83,570 citizens. Muskogee wore deerskin. Men were hunters and protected their family. Women were farmers and caretakers for their children. They believed in Master of Breath, which they thought the world was originally underwater and the only land there was a hill. Muskogee Tribe were very straightforward when they came to meeting non-Indians. It was either war or friendship. In the book Road to Disappearance by Angie Devo, the Muskogee Indians showed a sturdy awareness of equality and independence to the whites, and showed appreciation of European goods. They typically welcomed non-Indians, but they did not come to accept the idea of black slavery or slavery in general. The Indians didn't necessarily go by their own rule because Muskogee Indians did capture their enemy Indians and were used as their slaves. But the Europeans did encourage the Muskogee to think of black slaves as a good thing and to do it more often, to prevent runaways and also to prevent refuge within Muskogee towns. Europeans paid men Creek hunters to track down and capture runaway slaves. In 1813 through 1814 in southern United States, the Creek Civil War/Red Stick War had a huge impact on the United States, Lower Creeks, Cherokee, and the Choctaw. It was considered part of the 1812 War because it was influenced by Tamake's War. The Creek War or Red Stick War was conflict within the Creek Confederation. Creeks who didn't support the war were burned alive or murdered in their sleep. The warriors decided to attack their enemies by burning plantations and livestock. On July 21, 1813, a group of American soldiers stopped part of the Red Sticks returning from Florida. The Red Sticks received munition from the Spanish governor. Creeks decided to flee the scene, and the American soldiers began raiding what they found. The Indians knew exactly what was going on, and they retaliated with a surprise attack. That's when the battle burnt corn deep in Creek War to include American forces. Friendly Creeks who were under William McIntosh, Big Warrior, and Little Warrior attacked about 150 Yuchi warriors who were traveling to meet up with the Red Sticks. October 1813, multiple Red Sticks towns were burned before retiring to Coweta. Hawkins did not worry about the Creek nations increasing the war. Then on February 13, a small party of Red Sticks, led by Little Warrior, returning from Detroit, decided to massacre 2 families along the Ohio River. Hawkins then demanded the Creek to turn over Little Warrior and 6 associates. August 30, 1813 comes around. Peter McQueen led an attack succeeding massacre at Fort Mims. The Red Sticks' goal was to strike mixed blood Creeks that taken Creeks refuge at the fort. At the end of the massacre, 400 of 500 people were dead. All around, people heard and panicked throughout America's southeastern frontier. It ended up that the federal forces were too busy fighting British and northern woodland tribes. Southern states ended up calling in their militia to deal with the threat. After the burnt corn, the U.S. was ready to take on the Creeks, but little did they know that Spain was supporting the Creeks. Georgia began preparations by building a line of forts along the Chattahoochee River. Tennessee legislators then authorized Governor Williams to raise 5,000 militias in just 3 months. Blunt then called 2,500 Tennessee men under Cole Andrew Jackson and summoned about 2,500 East Tennessee under Major Gen. John Coke. They weren't ready to move until October. Benjamin Hawkins then organized a friendly Lower Creeks under Major William McIntosh to aid Georgia Tennessee militias during battle against Red Sticks. The Cherokee Nation decided to join Americans in their fight against Red Sticks. Upper Creek now composed about 2/3 of Creek Nation, and Creeks tried to remain friendly with the U.S., but after of Fort Mims, Americans in the southeast made 0 contact with friendly and unfriendly Creeks. The Red Stick force had about 4,000 warriors and about 1,000 guns. The holy ground was connection of Tallapoosa and Coosa River. It was heart of the Red Stick Confederation. Easiest attack was Georgia through a line of forts of frontier, then led to a road of upper creeks near Holy Ground. The Red Sticks put up a desperate fight but were outnumbered and poorly armed. The war could have ended a lot more quickly. The end of 1813 was where 7 3,000 men from 3 armies entered Creek territory and killed 800 warriors. But perhaps they did not destroy the center of the Red State power. February 6, 1814. It was the arrival of the 39th U.S. and Blunt ordered second draft of Tennessee militia. Coke had a force of 2,000 6-month men and marched from Knoxville to Fort Strother. Coke men rebelled when they knew that Jackson's men had 3-month enlistment. Mid-March is now here, and Jackson moved against Red Stick Force. They moved south along the Coosa, which was half distance of Creek position, established new outposts at Fort Williams, leaving another garrison and moving to Tuapique with force of 3,000 effectives. There was about 600 Cherokee and Lower Creek allies. March 27th, it was Battle of Horse Bend, and it was a victory for Jackson. It ended the Red Stick resistance. Later we would know that Pinckney could have mounted offensive that would ended Creek War in 1813. Now it's January 29th. The Creek attacked Fort Fowler Camp on Caleb B. Creek. Floyd and his militia considered this battle a defeat and retreated to Fort Mitchell. August 9, 1814. The Creeks were forced to sign the Treaty of Fort Jackson, which ceded 21,086,793 acres. It was half of Alabama and part of southern Georgia to the U.S. government.